I want to welcome you today to our Training and Recognition Day on diversity and inclusion. First, I want to thank you for all that you do for our wonderful state. Sometimes it's a thankless job, but we want you to know we appreciate everything you do while you're out on the roads, doing the many things that you do to keep our highways safe. I want to thank you also to the leadership that has believed in me once again, has allowed me this opportunity to come and present here at your Training and Recognition Day. And to all of you that will be receiving rewards, we want to say congratulations to you as well. I'd like to start today by talking to you about what is diversity. Diversity is simply the perspective of others, how we differ one from another. When you think about equity, I want you to think about fairness. I want you to think about equality. It's a policy, it's our practice, it's our position, it's who we are. And when we think about inclusion, think about bringing everyone in together. The power of the voice, the power of the presence. Our organizational culture represents an inclusive environment. You see, diversity is just simply a fact. You could have 100 Native Americans in a room and have such diversity. Some will wear glasses, some wouldn't. Some would be college degree, some would be high school graduates. Some would be earning six figures, some would be below the poverty level. You see, diversity is just simply a fact. It's how we differ one from another. Equity is a choice. It's a choice we make every day to be fair, to treat people equitable, to treat people the right way. It's an internal decision that we make. Inclusion is an action word, meaning are we bringing people together? Do we have a culture that has an inclusive environment? And finally, I think belonging is the real key. Bringing people together as an outcome, that we feel better as we work together, that we feel part of the mission of the organization. As I mentioned, diversity is simply differing one from another. It's our characteristic makeup. When you think about diversity, a lot of times we go to race and ethnicity and culture, but it's really how we differ. We should learn to celebrate our differences, because what a tremendous environment when we all bring ourselves together, our authentic, our original selves together. So much more can be accomplished. Equality. The quality, as I mentioned, of being fair, not impartial. Treating people the way they want to be treated, not the way you want to treat them. It's important when we think about equality that we think about our policies, as I mentioned earlier, of the organization, our hiring practices, the way we do business, the way we promote, the way we discipline, the way we mentor, the way we actually encourage people. Are we treating people, as I mentioned, fairly? And finally, inclusion. Think about inclusion as a practice of providing equal access to opportunities. Because folks, at the end of the day, we all basically want the same thing. We want the opportunity to provide for our families. We want an environment where we can come and be the best we can be. And we want access, because I think that's a critical point of inclusion, is bringing people together in an environment where they have access to opportunities as well as the resources that they might not otherwise have. Think about the marginalized populations of people. Sometimes they don't have a seat at the table, but inclusion would suggest we're all welcome to the table. I believe it's just time that we have some courageous conversations. Dialogue that doesn't point fingers. Dialogue that doesn't make people feel less than. But dialogue that welcomes people, that we hear them. We have an empathetic ear to hear what people are really saying. Oftentimes, we can't wait to respond versus hearing and having empathy and listening to what others have to say, how they feel. I think that's an important part of a workplace culture that's addressing the DEI initiative. On this next slide, it shows the dimensions of diversity. You know, I have in yellow what I call the big four: age, gender, ethnicity, and race. I think it's important that we move beyond those because I think we get stuck there. We have so many different dimensions of diversity: income, education, religious beliefs, personality types even separate us in the workplace. Not to mention our physical abilities, sexual orientation, and the list could go on and on and on. But we should be conscious and cognitive of the dimensions of diversity in the workplace. In closing, I want to thank you again for giving me this opportunity to share with you today. My goal was not to change your belief system, but to ask you to examine your belief system and to look inside the windows of your own soul and ask yourself, how do we feel about this thing called DEI? While it's not a fad, it's a practical way of doing business. It has so many business cases that can be made as to why we should be moving in this direction. So I encourage you today to take a look at yourself in this window of time as we talk about DEI. Think about your unconscious biases. Think about your stereotypes. Think about your implicit biases. Think about the things that maybe, just maybe, your belief system has brought into the workplace that's not conducive to growth. It's not conducive for the overall organization. It doesn't serve the mission. You should ask yourself, is it time for me to re-examine my belief system? By no means am I here today to change your belief system. I'm here to provide enough information to just maybe, you might take a look and say, we can do this better. Thank you so much. My name is Milton Hunt, and I've enjoyed my time with you here today.